Taiwan Strait, 23 nautical miles northeast of Taichung, July 15, 2025, 0400 hours local time. The USS Gerald Ford knifed through 8-foot swells at 18 knots, her 97,000-ton displacement cutting a white wake through black waters. Her Nimitz-class escort vessels maintained diamond formation, each positioned exactly 3,000 yards from the carrier's centerline. Destroyer USS Arleigh Burke's AIM/SPY-1 Delta radar swept the horizon at 2.4 GHz frequency, its 4 fixed arrays providing 360-degree coverage. Cruiser USS Ticonderoga's Aegis combat system processed over 1,000 targets simultaneously, its SPG-62 fire control radars locked in standby mode. 2 Virginia-class submarines, USS Connecticut and USS North Carolina, prowled at periscope depth, their sonar arrays detecting surface contacts out to 40 nautical miles. Bridge Watch Officer Lieutenant Commander Sarah Chen gripped the radar console with white knuckles, her coffee growing cold as she studied the green phosphor display. Her pulse quickened as new contacts materialized on the edge of detection range. Combat Information Center hummed with the electronic symphony of war. 23 sailors monitoring screens that could mean life or death. Petty Officer Martinez's hands trembled slightly as he fine-tuned the ANSPY-1 radar's sensitivity settings, sweat beading despite the air-conditioned bridge. Contact bearing 090, range 42 miles. Multiple fast-moving objects maintaining formation at Angels Point 5, Martinez reported, his voice cracking with tension. Sir, radar cross-section suggests metallic objects, approximately 1 meter in length, speed 350 knots and climbing. Chen's stomach dropped as she realized the implications of such signatures. The tactical display showed a growing constellation of red hostile markers streaming toward their position. Captain James Morrison burst onto the bridge within 90 seconds of the initial alert, his graying hair disheveled from interrupted sleep. Dark circles under his eyes betrayed the stress of 3 weeks of heightened alert status in contested waters. How many contacts are we tracking? Morrison demanded, his 30 years of naval experience telling him this was no routine patrol encounter. Sir, current count shows 317 individual targets, increasing by approximately 20 per minute. 800 miles away in Fujian Province, the Chinese People's Liberation Army Navy had triggered Operation Red Dragon at exactly 0300 hours. From 5 military air bases, waves of WZ-8 Harrier suicide drones lifted off in predetermined sequences, their turbojet engines screaming in the pre-dawn darkness. Each drone measured exactly 2.7 meters in length, carried 22 pounds of RDX explosive, and possessed a top speed of 450 knots. Their composite airframes, designed to minimize radar signature, presented cross-sections smaller than migrating birds. Admiral Wang Zheng monitored the operation from the underground Strategic Command Center in Beijing, his weathered face illuminated by wall-mounted displays showing real-time telemetry. His calloused hands, scarred from decades of naval service, gripped the command chair as he watched 800 red dots stream across the digital battlefield. The plan he had conceived 18 months earlier involved overwhelming American point defenses through mathematical certainty rather than technological superiority. First-wave targeting parameters focused on the carrier's phalanx close-in weapon systems and radar installations. USS Ford's SPS-48 radar operators tracked the approaching swarm with growing alarm, their screens filling with more contacts than any peacetime exercise had simulated. Sir, they're maintaining tight formation at 200 feet altitude. Speed now 370 knots, reported Seaman First Class Thompson, his voice barely steady. Distance closing rapidly. Estimated time to weapons range, 9 minutes, 30 seconds. Morrison felt his heart rate spike as he processed the tactical nightmare unfolding before his battle group. He slammed his palm against the general quarters alarm, the piercing klaxon echoing through 60,000 tons of American steel. Within seconds, the massive carrier transformed from sleepy nighttime operations into a hive of deadly purpose. Sailors sprinted through narrow corridors, their boots thundering on steel deck plates as they raced to battle stations. Gun mounts throughout the battle group swiveled toward eastern approaches, their servo motors whining as targeting computers acquired potential threats. The carrier's defensive arsenal represented $3 billion of cutting-edge military technology. 6. Mark 15 Phalanx CIWS mounts covered overlapping fields of fire, each system capable of firing 4,600 rounds of 20mm depleted uranium per minute. The experimental ANSEQ-3 laser weapon system, mounted behind the island superstructure, generated 50 kilowatts of concentrated energy, capable of burning through steel plate at 2 miles. 32. Mark 41 vertical launch system cells housed RIM-174 Standard Missile 6 interceptors, each costing $3.8 million. Lieutenant Colonel Maria Santos commanded the laser weapon system from a cramped control station deep within the carrier's superstructure. Her hands shook as she initiated the startup sequence she had practiced thousands of times but never used in combat. Laser array charging to full power. Estimated time to operational status: 4 minutes, Santos reported through gritted teeth. The system's deuterium fluoride chemical laser required precise mixing of toxic chemicals that could kill her entire crew if mishandled. Chinese drones maintained absolute radio silence during their approach, their quantum-encrypted GPS receivers immune to American electronic warfare attempts. Each unit followed pre-programmed waypoints stored in hardened memory cores, with artificial intelligence algorithms managing terminal attack phases. Their infrared seekers could distinguish between different ship classes from 15 miles, prioritizing high-value targets through thermal signature analysis. No human pilot existed to be captured, interrogated, or deterred by fear of death. First wave consisted of 256 drones arranged in 8 formations of 32 aircraft each. They approached in a complex weaving pattern designed to maximize point defense engagement challenges while minimizing mutual interference. U.S. radar operators struggled to maintain individual target tracks as the swarm entered medium-range engagement envelope. Electronic countermeasures specialists attempted to jam drone navigation systems using every frequency in their arsenal. Launch missiles. All batteries, engage at maximum range, Morrison ordered, his voice carrying the authority of absolute command. RIM-174 Standard missiles erupted from vertical launchers with thunderous roars, their solid rocket motors accelerating the interceptors to Mach 3.5. White contrails streaked across the star-filled sky like deadly calligraphy, written in smoke and fire. Each missile's semi-active radar homing system locked onto drone targets painted by the ship's illumination radars. Standard missiles intercepted 57 drones in the first salvo, their proximity-fused warheads detonating in brilliant orange fireballs 6 miles from the carrier group, burning debris scattered across churning waters below, some pieces still glowing red-hot as they splashed into the Pacific. Shockwaves from multiple explosions rippled through the water, rattling the hulls of American warships. 200 drones continued their deadly approach, now only 5 minutes from their targets. USS Arleigh Burke's Mark 45 5-inch gun opened fire with radar-guided shells, each round weighing 70 pounds and traveling at Mach 2.5. The destroyer's gun crew, led by gunner's mate Chief Petty Officer Rodriguez, loaded ammunition with mechanical precision, despite hands slippery with nervous sweat. Proximity fuses triggered shell detonations at calculated distances, filling the air with deadly shrapnel patterns. 17 more drones fell to naval gunfire, their aluminum airframes shredded by steel fragments. Phalanx systems engaged at maximum effective range of 3 miles, their search radars locking onto targets with deadly precision. Gatling guns spewed streams of depleted uranium shells at rates exceeding 70 rounds per second. Bright tracers created visible rivers of fire reaching out toward the approaching swarm. Hydraulic systems whined under continuous operation as gun mounts tracked multiple targets simultaneously. Santos finally achieved full laser power as drones entered her engagement envelope. "Laser weapon system operational, acquiring first target," she announced, her voice steady despite her racing pulse. The invisible infrared beam reached out at light speed, delivering concentrated energy equivalent to holding a welding torch against the target. First drone target exploded after precisely 1.7 seconds of exposure, its fuel tank igniting in a spectacular fireball. The laser system's computerized targeting cycled to the next threat within 37 milliseconds. Second drone disintegrated as its composite airframe reached combustion temperature. Third target fell smoking into gray waters, its guidance system fried by coherent photons. Energy output remained steady despite continuous firing. The chemical laser's fuel supply sufficient for 200 shots. Chinese military planners had anticipated 70% losses during the penetration phase. Wave tactics relied on mathematical overwhelm rather than individual platform survivability. Each destroyed drone represented an acceptable loss if the remainder reached their targets. Admiral Wang watched casualty reports with professional detachment, knowing success required sacrifice. Ammunition handlers throughout the battle group worked with desperate efficiency, their uniforms soaked with perspiration, despite cool morning air. Empty shell casings littered deck plates as gun crews maintained maximum firing rates. Communication circuits crackled with urgent damage reports and ammunition status updates. "We're down to 40% standard missiles," reported the weapons officer, panic creeping into his trained professionalism. Second drone wave appeared on radar screens like a digital plague, another 300 targets approaching from bearing 120. The new formation split American defensive fire between two major threat axes. "Sir, new contacts bearing 120, range 38 miles, same target characteristics." Morrison felt cold dread settle in his stomach as he realized his worst nightmare was materializing. He faced the greatest command challenge of his career, with insufficient ammunition to defeat both swarm attacks. Traditional naval tactics provided no solutions for this asymmetric threat. Reinforcements from 7th Fleet lay 6 hours away at maximum speed. His 5,000 sailors depended entirely on his decisions in the next crucial minutes. The carrier's island structure vibrated from continuous weapon fire, rivets straining under harmonic stress. Flight deck crews prepared F-35 Lightning fighters for emergency launch, but aircraft required 8 minutes minimum from startup to takeoff. Drones would arrive in less than 4 minutes. Aviation ordnance men loaded AIM-120 missiles with hands that shook from adrenaline and exhaustion. Chief Petty Officer Jackson managed damage control teams throughout the ship, his 20-year veteran crew preparing for the worst-case scenario. "If those things penetrate our defenses, we've got seconds to contain fires before they spread," he warned his teams. Emergency medical stations activated throughout the ship, corpsmen preparing for mass casualty treatment. The acrid smell of gunpowder and hydraulic fluid filled the air as weapons systems operated at maximum capacity. Chinese drones executed their terminal attack programming with mechanical precision. Formation split into 12 separate attack vectors, each group targeting specific ship systems identified through satellite reconnaissance. Flight deck, bridge, radar installations, and weapons systems received priority targeting assignments. Their approach pattern resembled a deadly flower blooming across the tactical display. The U.S. Navy's newest defensive technology faced its ultimate test in actual combat conditions. Laser systems had never engaged multiple simultaneous targets under battle stress. Power management systems strained under combat loads that exceeded design specifications. Cooling systems pumped seawater at maximum flow rates to prevent critical overheating. Santos coordinated laser targeting with increasingly frantic radar operators. Priority targets: any drone approaching within 2 miles of flight deck. Her system's invisible beams lanced out repeatedly, each shot guided by quantum sensors more precise than human reflexes. Every successful hit sent cheers through the Combat Information Center, brief moments of triumph in desperate circumstances. Phalanx systems cycled through ammunition at unsustainable rates. Gun barrels glowed cherry red from sustained firing, their chrome-lined bores approaching thermal limits. Cooling systems sprayed saltwater over gun mounts, steam rising as metal temperatures exceeded boiling point. Mechanical stress indicators flashed warning lights as systems operated beyond normal parameters. First Chinese drone penetrated the outer defensive perimeter at 0412 hours. It screamed toward the carrier's starboard side at 400 knots, its infrared seeker locked onto the flight deck's thermal signature. Final phalanx mount tracked the incoming threat, its radar painting the target for point-blank engagement. 20mm rounds shredded the drone just 15 feet from impact, debris showering across the deck. Burning jet fuel splattered steel plating, igniting secondary fires among parked aircraft. Damage control teams rushed forward with foam dispensers, their protective suits reflecting orange flames. 3 more drones broke through simultaneously, approaching from different compass bearings. The laser system engaged the closest target, while remaining phalanx guns tracked multiple threats. Second drone exploded against portside hull plating below the waterline. 22 pounds of RDX explosive opened a 12-foot hole in the ship's armor belt. Seawater rushed into compartment 14-3-Alpha, flooding pumps automatically engaging. Secondary fires erupted in adjacent spaces as electrical systems short-circuited. Third drone targeted the island superstructure with suicidal determination. Santos's final defensive laser burst destroyed it 60 feet above the bridge, burning fragments raining down like metallic hail. Bridge windows cracked from thermal shock and debris impact. Navigation equipment sparked and died as hot metal penetrated electronic enclosures. Fourth drone approached the flight deck at wave-top height, below effective radar coverage. No defensive systems could engage targets in the radar shadow zone. It struck aircraft elevator number 2 with devastating precision. The explosion damaged critical flight operations equipment and injured 6 sailors. Chinese second wave pressed home their attack with mechanical persistence. Remaining drones scattered across a 40-mile front, dividing American defensive fire among dozens of targets. Ammunition expenditure rates far exceeded logistics calculations. Gun crews worked with hands bleeding from handling hot shell casings. Admiral Wang monitored battle progress from his underground command center, satellite feeds showing real-time damage assessment. His forces had achieved partial mission success despite heavy losses. American defenses showed clear signs of degradation and ammunition depletion. Authorization for third-wave launch awaited his direct command. Morrison assessed battle damage throughout his command with growing concern. Flight operations suspended indefinitely due to deck damage. 2 escort vessels reported minor structural damage from near misses. Overall combat effectiveness remained marginal but operational. The laser weapon system had proved its revolutionary worth under fire. 83 confirmed drone kills with 0 ammunition expenditure. Technology demonstration exceeded all peacetime test parameters. Santos's crew had written history with invisible light. Surviving Chinese drones executed their retreat protocols toward mainland bases. Mission parameters included comprehensive damage assessment and intelligence gathering. High-definition video feeds transmitted tactical data through encrypted satellite links. Future attack patterns would incorporate hard-learned lessons from this engagement. USS Ford limped toward safer waters, damage control parties working throughout the ship. Medical personnel treated 27 injured sailors, most suffering from burns and lacerations. Miraculously, no fatalities resulted from the sustained combat engagement. The carrier's survival testified to American engineering and crew training excellence. International media reported the confrontation within 3 hours, satellite images revealing battle damage. Both sides claimed tactical victory through carefully crafted press releases. China demonstrated credible swarm attack capabilities against Western naval forces. United States proved next-generation defensive technology under actual combat conditions. Pentagon officials conducted emergency briefings for congressional leadership. Laser weapon systems required immediate mass production and fleet deployment. Traditional missile-based defenses proved inadequate against distributed threats. Naval warfare doctrine needed fundamental revision for the drone age. Beijing Politburo analyzed detailed engagement results during closed-door sessions. Drone swarm tactics showed exceptional promise against conventional defenses. American laser technology posed unexpected challenges requiring countermeasures. Future operations demanded numerical superiority approaching 2-to-1 ratios. The Taiwan Strait incident fundamentally changed regional strategic calculations. Neither side achieved decisive tactical or strategic advantage. Both militaries accelerated weapon development programs and defense spending. The regional arms race entered a dangerous new technological phase.